Nana, one more time, please. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Hey, are we already getting started?
I miss the feeling now. Like, okay, now I'm in Lisa page. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Gosh, a lot of pages. Anna, I saw you. Smile, please. 1, 2, 3.
Yee! Rhonda, you are a trooper. Thank you so much for doing this. And thank you all so much for giving us your smiles.
1, 2, 3. Okay, next one.
Alison,
yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next one. Oh, Anthony, I'm here. I saw you, Stephanie and James. Okay, one. Also, hi, she. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Anthony, for joining us for today. Okay, Jenny, I saw you now. 1, 2, 3. Oh, a second, please. 1, 2, 3, Jenny.
So much. Thank you all so much for your patience. Yeah, just always be smiling, you know.
Oh, I'm waiting for
Give your
Mark
cheeks a nice exercise.
Okay, Mark. 1, 2, 3. Oh, one more. 1, 2, 3. Let's see.
Graphic designer to UI design. Nice.
Oh, Jarrell, Jeremy, and Catherine. 1, 2, 3. You still in bed, Jarrell? You gonna sing a song?
Oh my God.
Oh, now it's you want to smile your car?
No, that's perfect. No, this is so.
please take a picture.
Oh, one more time, please, because now I saw Thomas. So 2, 3, Thomas.
Oh my God, I love Rosa so much. I love you so much.
That's commitment, Jarrell.
I'm to UX designer. Very cool, Catherine. Okay, we did. Okay. I actually started doing that. Oh, very nice. Very thank you to you are so amazing, and thank you all so much for your patience. Feel free to leave camera on or don't. Totally up to you. That's totally fine. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again. Screen 1. Here we go. All right. So let's get right on into it. I'm gonna pass it over to Shep. Thank you all again.
So hello everyone. It's amazing to have you all. So first of all, let me start by introducing myself. I'm Shazib Kazmi. I am an ambassador for ADPList from Pakistan, and the career transition I'm going to talk about is, I think, the most common one for UX designers out there. That is from a computer science major to a UX or product designer. So I'm currently a student myself. I'm currently in my undergrad studies. I'm in my final year, and I'm pursuing software engineering. But I was a bit hasty in that regard because I love UX that much that I wanted to shift right away. So I've been practicing and studying UX for over a year. Let's move forward. So what was the turning point? How did I realize that CS was just not cutting it for me? I wanted more. I wanted UX. So I actually learned about product design and UX design while I was building my first mobile application. And naturally, I came across product design and UX design because it is such a vital part of every digital app or product out there now. So I came across this and I studied a bit. I found it very attractive to learn because I personally love to build products. That is what attracted me to CS and software engineering in the first place. I am a builder, and it's quite funny that all my life I've been on a pre-med track. Then I moved to CS because I like to build stuff. And now, while I was in my sophomore year, I came across UX design, which is also which is where ideas come to life. It's like the first stage where your ideas meet reality. So it was an instant love and the rapid realization of ideas. That was the trigger moment for me, which really made me fall for this profession. So how did I do it? How did I transition? Because as I said, I am a student. I have my entire coursework. I didn't drop out like Steve Jobs or anything. I am still a student. So how do I do it? I focus on two things at the same time. The first thing is learning, and the second one is experience. Because I know that even to get an entry-level job, you need an experience now. So I wanted to get work early on. So let's focus on my learning. So I studied in my pandemic. So like access to physical boot camps or anything like that in education was not feasible. So I made use of every online resource I can find out there. The most notable ones were Udacity, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, Pluralsight, and Udemy. Coursera is still something I definitely use. I'm currently enrolled in the Google UX Design certification. I'm finding it really well. Then I also grew with communities such as my local community in Pakistan, that is UXTP. I met with a lot of mentors there. I learned about the practicalities of this profession in my country because design is not very mature in Pakistan. So I wanted to learn how they got where they are right now. So mentorship and growing communities was definitely something I used. Then some notable communities were Design Buddies and ADPList. They have been very monumental in my growth. And I also frequently attend meetup groups. Now, it was a very daunting task, like in a physical meeting with seasoned professionals, and I was easily the greenest person there. But success lies after your fear. So I just powered through it, and it was fruitful at the end. And design books. Books are not very common nowadays in terms of learning because of the growth in digital content. But design books are definitely a treasure chest if you want to level up your design fundamentals. In terms of my experience, I wanted to garner it right at the start. So I definitely researched on YouTube. One notable channel is ADPList Smart. They have amazing tips on how you can start building your online portfolio and what type of projects you can focus on. So I referenced some sample case studies from Medium and a website called Esfolios, and I referenced them. I saw how they documented their entire process, and I faked it till I make it. And I learned and concepts and implemented at the same time. So I was learning at the same time, and while I was learning, I was working on my concept projects. So my experience and learning were happening at the same time. Now let's move forward. So where I am now, what fruit did I get? So I applied to about 300 plus jobs. So you have to be ruthless in the market, but definitely don't apply blindly. Focus on the role and responsibilities. If I didn't focus, I would have applied to about 1,000. So the 300 count is after my shortlisting. So after all of those 300 applications, I got favorable responses from about 20-25 of them. And in the end, I chose two. The first one is Keep Trucking. It's a Silicon Valley-based startup. It's a $1 billion company. So landing a job while I'm an undergrad is like good achievement for me. So I'm a product designer there. I've been working for about 3 months. Beyond that, I am also a UX designer at Quest. It's a budding startup in Singapore. So I am a core product designer. I'm working on the application. So it's very, very good work. And I'm an ambassador for ADPList. I absolutely love this community and this product. So yeah, this is what is happening right now. How did it pay off? Now, the things which I wish I knew before, that was the power of communities and networking. I sort of found out its benefits way into the future. Like my first job of Keep Trucking, that actually happened because of networking, because I knew some of the people there. I had invited them as guest speakers in my community events. So they sort of knew me. So networking helped me in that regard. So if I knew the power of communities and networking before, I would have definitely been at a better place than where I am. Then I wish I made use of mentorship before. I think this is a no-brainer that I started mentorship in March. So if I knew it way before, I would not have wasted a lot of time looking for study resources. So if I knew of mentorship before, I would have saved a lot of time and focused on the right area. And I wish I didn't do things for the sake of doing them. Yeah, I did a lot of things just so that I can show them on my website or my portfolio. But at the end of the day, they didn't actually make the cut to my website or my social profile because they just didn't have that dedication or that value in them. So this is what I am doing today. And thank you for listening to me. Now I'll just pass off to my amazing fellow ambassador, Jason.
Thank you so much, Shazad. So now I'm going to be talking about my career transition, how I transitioned from PR agency to become an associate content designer at FFW. Now, before we start, let's talk about my turning point. And I'm simply not talking about the restaurant that you get lunch at. I'm talking about the moment that I realized I wanted to switch careers. Now, previously I mentioned that I worked at a public relations agency called Good News Communications. I worked there for about a year until I hit a point and I asked myself, do I want to do this work for the rest of my life? And the three things that kept popping into my head was that I felt that the work I was doing was unfulfilling to me. There was a lack of passion. I graduated with a degree in communication, but I mostly did it because I just wanted to please my parents by having a degree. And I felt that I was settling. I felt that I just wanted to do the bare minimum at my job, and I wanted to push myself even further into my career growth. So then I asked myself, what should I do? I started researching into different job outlets, and I first considered coding until I ran into UX design. The rest is history, and I was able to attend General Assembly, where I was there from March to May, graduated, and got my job at FFW as a content designer. Now, I didn't want to completely throw away my experience as a assistant account executive. What I was able to bring to the table was communication. I developed this habit of over-communicating throughout the boot camp, which I bring to my job. I'm constantly messaging my coworkers and letting them know what's going on my side of the table. This also includes teamwork, being able to collaborate with others and allowing myself to share ideas and bounce things off of one another. Next, client management. I dealt with some clients at my previous job, and I'm able to bring that forward with my current job at FFW. Now, a question that I got asked a lot when I was going through the boot camp program was, Jason, how did you do it all? You're going through this boot camp program, you're able to spend 4 hours post the program to go out and do networking and whatnot. How do you do it? I was able to break it down into 3 pillars: passion, mindset, and support. I am passionate about what I do. I love helping others, and I love the idea of UX design. I developed a growth mindset that I actually took from my dance background while being in a competitive dance team, by not having a fixed mindset and allowing myself to grow with every single mistake that I made. And of course, community and support. Finding communities such as ADPList, the UXD Struggle Bus, the UX Come Up, and any other UX group out there. I was able to develop a UX tribe, finding people who have a similar passion as me, developing a work ethic that fuels my passion and goes along with my mindset, and finding community with like-minded people, people who are hungry to grow and to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. That's what I was able to do. So, with that said, before I was working 50 plus hours a week. I was working almost every other weekend at my previous job, dealing with toxic clients on a daily basis. There was no work-life balance. And I wanted something more meaningful and more fulfilling in my life. Now, I work with an amazing team with huge growth potential, and I work in a collaborative and fun environment. I'm also making almost double what I initially made at my previous career, which money isn't always everything, but it is something to make note of. And so if I were to go back in the past and tell myself some things that I should carry with me, is that you should engage with mentors, use ADPList to promote outreach, and to talk to these people who have years and years of experience who can help you grow. Put yourself out there. I'm on YouTube, Medium, LinkedIn, Instagram, putting myself out there for people to know who I am and to make that job easier of getting to know me. And the most important thing is to not settle. I feel that once you start settling, you need to ask yourself, what can I do to improve? And now I'm going to pass it to Radha for her to tell her sad story. Radha, the floor is yours.
I mute my voice. Hello everyone, I'm Radha. I live in Bangkok, Thailand, and now I am an experience designer consultant at ThoughtWork company. So let's see, what is my turn now? My turn now is I attend the Agile workshop, and then the speaker, he talking about the UX strategy. And or not, after I came back home, I start the first enroll the class with UX class, my first class of UX. And then I because I watch a lot of video on YouTube. They say that it's a low barrier career. That's my turning point. And how I did it, I studied a bootcamp with Career Foundry. But I would say why I choose the bootcamp, because they will teach me from scratch until the end. But the key important thing is, I would say that is a mentor, because mentor is your personal mentor. They're gonna help you everything. Like I consult with him all the time for job interview. They're gonna check all my tasks. So every single thing I consult with him, because I believe that when you study online at home, it's very difficult when you don't have someone to talk with. And if you cannot find a mentor, or if you don't decide to join the bootcamp, then you can come to ADPList as well. Because for me, the mentor is mean that someone that wants to help you to grow, and not only that you want to consult with them, but you also create your own working as well. And what the skill that I transfer, I speak for living as I got from my flight attendant. And I also saw that some of us are from flight attendant as well. So we know how to talk with people and we confident all the time. So I would say with kind of soft skill, it's helped me to land UX job easily, because when we have confidence to talk with people, we know how to connect with people. That kind of thing is very easy for us. And believe it or not, business skill. Most of people like to forget about business skill. We focus about the design skill, Figma, Adobe XD, or UX process. But when we work as a UX designer, the key thing is very important in business. How we gonna use the design process to help them to have a good business outcomes. And lastly, I will talk about the research skill, because we should to do research, but it depends on the time of constraint before we do design. Lastly, I would like to say what I should know before, because I think that I'm very happy with what I should know before. But I would like to recommend about Kanwa Strategy. What is Kanwa Strategy? Because I believe is the best way to help you to boost your career. So Kanwa Strategy is about learning how to get what you want and knowing what other people want. They have 3 steps. First, you know where you are in the career. So now, like me, we just be here and you want to be here. And then do research. For example, by doing research, if you want to work with Crystal, I believe that many people try to connect to Crystal and say, hey, Crystal, how can I help you? If they ask him, how can I help you? Then you putting your work on him. So by doing research, you should know what is interesting for him, how you can help him to do something better on. That kind of thing can help you to connect your network, and then you connect to him by doing research for the one that you want to work with them. And lastly, do it. Most people know everything. We learn from YouTube, we learn from ADPList, we watch a video, every webinar, but we don't do it. Just do it right away. For me, don't fear to fail. But when we fail, what we learn from it is very important. I failed a couple of times. I applied job. I got rejected all the time. But I always move on. I always keep applying job all around the time. When we learn something, I would say like when I got rejected from not only from the reject. Every time when I do a job interview, I will ask myself what I'm doing good, what I'm doing bad, how can I do it better? Like I do retrospect for myself. That kind of thing can help me to improve myself for the next time. And yes, I gonna pass to Yen.
Thank you, Radha. That was amazing. Hi guys, my name is Ian. I am a UX researcher. I'm currently based in Los Angeles, California, in the United States. And yeah, I'm just going to share how I got into UX design and research. So here we see the turning point, but that's a turning point. To really understand where the turning point came about, like I have to talk a little bit about my history. So I previously, before I got to UX design and research, I worked in diplomacy and international development, and I was always interested. I always loved. I was an idealist. I always loved helping other people, social impact initiatives, And that was the main reason why I got into international development and international relations. But to understand that too, going back to tell you about my background, how I got to there first, which also does translate to UX design research, my career. I was born in Malaysia to both mixed parents of Chinese and Burmese parents. Lived there in Malaysia and moved to the States when I was 13. But as I came here to the States, that's when I started also getting immersed in multiculturalism in my community here with Korean speakers and Spanish speakers. And already in the kind of environment growing up, I really was really interested and immersed in the collaborative spirit of helping others, just understanding different people, getting to know them, and just kind of like, as I mentioned before, in my bios, I like to consider myself a cultural chameleon, a cultural chameleon. And but that's when I started my journey, like into diplomacy, because I wanted to work as a liaison. I wanted to work as a liaison in terms of helping systems, organizations, people, especially in international development. So that's what I studied back in undergrad, back at UCLA and Georgetown, where I went there to study the Foreign Service. And I did a lot of work with governments as liaison, translating for Chinese governments, worked with the Japanese government too. And I did a lot of non-governmental work too, NGO work with helping out translations of Korean and Spanish. And I loved it. So I thought, like, okay, the next step is to get further into maybe the United Nations or State Department. Georgetown, being in DC was really was difficult. There was a lot of people are idealists over there as well. And but then as I started working in the United Nations, we were working in a fintech program. I was working in Fiji. This is a picture of me here, there in Fiji with my team there in Suva. Suva is the capital there. That was my turning point, really. Like, I was, going to just a lot of different places. I was kind of getting burnt out. I just wasn't feeling safe to being sent over to so many third world countries, developing countries. It was really, like, working government and NGOs it's really bureaucratic. To get anything going on, it takes a while. Like, there's so many different processes, systems to get your project going on. By the time they give you a green light, your product's already stale. So being the idealist I felt like I was not being able to push forward. I felt like I was not making as much of an impact as I could. So I took a break from that. It was just really toxic. I burnt out. I had some PTSD with things that happened there in Fiji. It was bad. So I came back to LA to kind of heal. I had to heal and just recenter myself and realize and think about why this didn't work. I still wanted to help people, but I just did not like the environment I was working in. So I had to come back and figure out what to do next. And that's when I started learning more about UX design. I loved how it's, I could finally incorporate my creative skills and people and research skills. Because a lot of what I did too before was policy research. So I was able to translate that, and so much of it too in working in international relations or international economics and UX and design and UX research was, how to understand different systems in different organizations and translate them. Back before was like translating them with different languages or understanding people, but that's also the same thing with UX research too, in terms of understanding, different complex ideas and all, being able to translate that to stakeholders, my team and all that. So how did I start this? I first, started learning, Googling, researching more about what UX design is, and saw if it was for me. Besides reading that, I started networking with people who are UX designers, UX researchers, and such. Then I joined Thinkful UX Bootcamp. I joined Thinkful, and that was a great experience. I felt like I needed that. I liked it because it was structured, and it made me. It was a 6-month program, and that really I learned a lot from there. And from there, I had a mentor. But after I was done with Thinkful, I then joined Collab because I wanted to expand beyond my Thinkful experience. So I started getting a lot of different mentors on ADPList. I met about several different ones and stuck with a few who I worked really well with, including a few here that are online on our chat here. And but after that, I to get more real world experience too. You need experience to the job too. I was having a little bit of hump with how a lot of jobs require you to experience. So I joined Collab. I joined Collab to receive more real life experience working with teams and cross-functional collaboration and shipping a product. So Collab was really great too, along with ADPList. And like I said, the essential skills, like I was able to, if you're a career changer like me, use these essential skills you had before. Everything you did before is not gone in the garbage. It might be a little bit difficult to rebrand yourself, but you've learned, you bring so much to the table being a career transitioner, such as like I said previously, like my people skills, being able to talk to different people of different entities, from government bureaucracies to small business owners and such. Having the empathy and kindness, being able to put yourself in the shoes, that's important. Having an open mind, having a growth mindset, willingness to keep learning all the time, understanding, getting deep into the roots of what the problems are. And of course, like me being an idealist before, that translated into being here. It's important to have cross-functional team collaboration. That's going to be asked a lot in interviews. Being a team player, they want to know that you can work really well with people. And next, so where am I now? I just got a job as a UX researcher at Cepheid, this biotech company back in Silicon Valley. This is my 3rd day being there, and I love the team. They're just everyone's hardworking, easygoing, and I'm also, like Jason said, I'm making more money than I did even back with my diplomacy work, and I'm very happy. I'm working remote right now, and just so much more flexibility too, and a lot of more open paths that I can see myself working towards, and now also with the help of mentors on ADPList and such, I feel more equipped to and safer and just stronger going forward rather than before. Before I started this, I really wished I knew more about the job search process. Like it's difficult, but it's not impossible. I think what I remembered was boot camps, they kind of tell you that, oh, once you join us, you will get a job within 6 months. The boot camp's not going to do the work for you. They're going to just aid you, but you have to do the work. You have to be proactive. You have to be able to take feedback, because your first, if you're not embarrassed by your first work, then you got work to do. Usually the first resume, the first few, I had to do tons, like 30 different revisions of my resume, my cover letter, my portfolio. Just know that the process, don't want to scare anyone, but you really got to understand there's work ahead to do because there's so much competition now. Now that there's a lot of people entering boot camps, especially during the pandemic. And I also wish I knew that there are just more disciplines than just UX design. There's subdisciplines, there's UX design, there's product design, which encompasses end development. There's UX writing, there's UX research, there's interaction design, there's information architecture. You can specialize in information architecture. There's UI design, which is more of the visuals. You still need to know the fundamentals of UX, the process, the human design process. So we're not just graphic designers. We're not glorified graphic designers. We're UX. We're UX designers. So we have a process doing it. And yeah, so those are some of my takeaways. And yeah, that's my story here. And if you guys have any questions, continue to just drop down questions in there, and I will try answer them later on. And that's my story. Thank you
for sharing that, Ian. So I'm gonna go ahead and did you want to go over this last slide or?
Did I go? I think I already talked about the last slide.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So thanks so much to all of our speakers. I love seeing the chat blowing up. There was so much positive energy, so much growth, so much just discussion amongst ourselves. So yeah, we were able to capture a lot of your questions. Feel free to drop them in. We'll try to get to as many as we can. What this is, the top tips takeaway time. So if you can, go ahead and take a screenshot of this. We're not going to read through all of it. If you can't take a screenshot, do not worry. We're gonna drop this in our LinkedIn group, the ADPList Design Community. So go ahead, take your screenshot. Going once, going twice, and sold. So again, I am Amber, Rata, Shazad, Ian, Jason. Thank you so much. Connect with us. The links are in the chat. Yes, I just see a big message. Thank you so much for dropping that. Feel free to add us, add in a message, and of course, join our ADPList Design Community on LinkedIn. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. So one last plug before we start doing the questions. Join us next month. We're going to be doing Roundtable number 3. I'm really, really excited about the topic. I can't share it. I really want to, but it's going to be really good. And we're going to have the same energy and vibes coming your way. And without further ado, it's 8:40, so we have 20 minutes. Well, it's 8:40 PST. We have 20 minutes for questions. So, being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put, oh, God, I'm big. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead. There was one question that was pushed over from the last roundtable, actually, and it was about certificates. I think it was like, I think Suresh had asked if you needed a certificate to make transition into this field. So let's start with that one, and then I'll get to the ones that were dropped today. If any of the speakers want to go ahead and take that one on. Do you need a certificate to get into the field?
I could speak quickly about this one. So I graduated from GA, so we get the certificate of completion. And the quick answer is no. A certificate just shows that you completed it. It's not good like a degree in a sense. I met a lot of self-taught designers who did not take any sort of certificate program to be where they are now. So, don't let the certificate be a quote unquote easy way out. It's just to show that you went through this program. What's going to matter more is the way you persevere, the hard work that you put in, because for most employers, like a certificate is just a piece of paper that says I went to so-and-so program. So any way is possible, but don't let the certificate think that, it's an end all be all.
Nice. Okay. Thank you so much, Jake. I agree with that answer, by the way. Then he did say in the chat, you need a portfolio to get in the field. I would tend to agree with that. I'm not a mentor or anything, but it does seem that way. Does anybody else want to speak to that one? Rata, where is your camera? So earlier on in the chat, Julia asked, hi guys, I'm wondering how to get over the fear of making a career change. I love that question. That's very much a mindset question. Does anybody want to go ahead and answer that?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
So how to go about a career transition. I know it's very daunting thinking about like all the things you've worked for before that it feels like you're throwing it away. At least I felt like that when I transitioned. It took a lot of deep digging. I did a lot of journaling. I try to look, I knew I was not, if you know that you're not happy with your career, it's best to start digging deeper and figure out what's the next step. So what else? Sorry, so the question was, how did I figure out the transition? I just tried to research
to get over the fear.
Over the fear. I think to get over the fear is like, you don't, what's to lose now? Because if you are stuck in such a situation that you don't like, would you much rather spend the next 10, 20 years of your life doing something you hate? Or would you rather start now doing something that you truly love? That was what propelled me to push further to figure out whether this path was right for me. And I knew then, like, I did not want to do the work I did before. So if you're pretty sure that that's not what you want to do and you can't see yourself doing it in the next 5, 10 years or forever, encourage you to start just researching, talking, reaching out to us, reach out to me. We could talk and then you start getting more sure and sure whether it's just the path you really want, and then you start going for it because then you realize that may be the thing that you want to do, that tickles your fancy. In other words.
Oh my God, you're so funny. It tickles your fancy. I love that. And I kind of want to speak on this really quickly. I literally have a Post-it on my computer that says "Own Your Awesomeness," because for a long time I really had to struggle with that. I dropped out of the Academy of Print in San Francisco about 10 years ago. I was trying to get into this field a while ago, and then I got hit with really hard imposter syndrome, fear, just not understanding like my own potential. Not to sound like, oh my God, I'm so amazing. Like, it was actually quite terrifying. So I would recommend asking why. Like, why am I scared? For me, I was scared to pivot back into this field because I thought like, oh, it would take me so many years. I'm not good, whatever. But here's the thing. Those years are still going to pass. Like 2 years are going to pass and you'll still not have done anything. So it got to a point where like, you know what, the time's going to pass anyway. I might as well give it a go. What's the harm? You never know until you know. And so I dipped my toes. That was actually a first step. I found like a short course online. I went through Design Lab, have some short courses, and I was like, let me see if one kills me. And guess what? Spoiler alert, it didn't kill me. So I just kept doing more and more and more and learning more and more and more. The trick is don't take it all on at once. Because if you do that, you're going to overwhelm yourself. You're going to get burned out. You're going to start feeling bad about yourself. Don't do that. Dip your toes in and then start going into the pool. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I want to go ahead and move on to the next question. So this one is for Shazeb. Jenna wants to know, can you be more specific on the things you did just to do them?
Yeah, definitely. So I did a couple of things. The first thing is that I focused on the quantity of case studies on my portfolio. So if I am focusing on quantity, then definitely I'm not focusing on quality because I am hustling through creating more products and like concept products. So that definitely didn't work out because quality over quantity. Like your portfolio is only as good as your worst case study. I heard that in a group session on ADPList, and that's very true. So and I also saw a question regarding this in the chat, that how many case studies should be there. So quality over quantity, 1 or 2 of your best work is enough, because your case studies are just a sample of your craft, and you can do that in 1 or 2 case studies. You don't need 10. If you have a lot of years of experience, then maybe 5 or 6 or 7 makes sense. But if you are an entry-level UX designer, the hiring recruiter or the team, they don't even expect that many case studies from you, because they know you don't have experience. So I focus on quantity over quality. That is one thing. Then second is that I focus a lot on learning all the design tools at the same time, like Adobe XD, Figma, InVision, or so that should not be the case. Like, it's good to know all the tools. And I even went ahead and learned about one thing, which is called Azure RP, because I researched that Google uses that in their design processes. So I went ahead and learned that for some reason. So it was passionate, and I learned a lot of tools that way, but I would have preferred if I focused on one and I learned it throughout, everything about it. Like nowadays I use Figma for literally everything. So if I would have had a more focused things I focused on, wow. So that would have been nice. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So our next question is for Jason, but anybody feel free to answer. Can you expand more? This is from Aya. Can you expand more on the path to your first UX job, specifically, where you're at right now in your role?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it definitely wasn't a linear path. I think my objective when I went about the job search was to start planting those seeds as soon as possible. And what I meant by that is, at the very start of my boot camp, I made it my goal to network with people since day one. I started off with setting a goal of, let's network with 2 people a week, and then increase that gradually as I got more comfortable with networking, to the point where I went from around 120-ish connections to more than 500 when I graduated. And that's not to say, connections is a number game. My goal was to make genuine connections, not just, hey, add me on your LinkedIn. I just want to increase my network. And because I was actively engaging with several people, opportunities started coming to me. And the way I got my job wasn't because I applied somewhere, although technically I did apply afterwards, but it was because someone reached out to me and they noticed that I was taking initiative to put myself out there. And we actually connected midway through my boot camp, talking about something else. So she saw that I graduated, reached out to me, and history. So with that said, that's why I always emphasize putting yourself out there, shooting your shot, because you never know what opportunities are going to lead you to the next big thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. So our next question is for Rata. Also from Aya, would you say your transferable skills held more value than portfolio? Oh, yes. And also, please mute yourselves. I'm so sorry to name names, but Colleen and Vivek, I'm probably saying your name wrong, and I do apologize, but can y'all, thank you. Oh, thanks so much. Okay, Rata, go ahead.
Okay, so about my transition skill, right? My transfer skill, do it fit for the portfolio, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
No, sorry, I had myself muted. Yeah, would you say your transferable skills held more value than your portfolio?
Oh, I would say it's mixed, because as I speak for living, as a soft skill, it's helped me a lot to get a job. Like when I have conflict to talk with many people, since networking is very important. I start networking, even I start doing the boot camp. or the cost. But portfolio is very important as well. Like both of them is help me to get a job. Like it's not only that, I'm good in speaking and I can get a job. No, we have to have the skill as well. And I want to talk with when Jason talking about do networking. I would say by networking, it can help us to get a job interview. They can send us there at door, but the rest of the door is everything. How can I say that? I'm on my own. You are on your own. No one can help you until the last step of the job interview. So I would say the skill that I have and also portfolio, both of them can help me to land a job. And can I have one more question, Amber? Because I think we also have the flight attendant as well, and they asked me why transitions like into UX when I got this question. Yeah. So I would say that UX is everything. So when I was a flight attendant, it's still UX, but in service design industry, we can say that when we answer the question. And then you just transfer from UX from the service industry to digital industry. That's all. Because when we operate the flight, we need to do research about the passenger profile before we operate the flight. We need to know about our team, what is that culture, what they like to do, who flying to New York, who flying to Chicago. We need to know that kind of thing. It's the same thing as UX. We need to know what is the problem, what method we're going to use, how can we solve the problem? It's the same thing. So when they ask you how you transition, try to use your previous experience and involve the UX. So it's the same thing. I would say that. Thank you, Amber. I'm sorry I talked too much.
Oh my God, don't you apologize. I don't want to hear it. I love it when you speak. Okay, so really quickly. Vivek, I'm gonna call you up. Paging Vivek, I'm probably saying your name wrong and I'm sorry. Can you please mute yourself? That'd be fabulous. Yes, that'd be great. Thank you. Love it. Thanks. Love seeing it. Okay, so we got a lot of questions. So I'm just gonna reiterate that because we got so many questions, which is actually really exciting. I honestly would just sit here all day and we would all answer it. But go ahead. Go ahead to the LinkedIn group, the ADPList Design Community, and we're gonna start posting some answers to them in the coming days because there are too many good ones. It's like not even fair. Y'all rocking it out with these questions, and they're so I'm actually gonna move. I'm gonna have someone cut the line because it technically got an upvote. And this is from Jenna, and I think Corinne also. I'm probably saying your name wrong, and I apologize. And I just think it's a spicy question. How do you answer the question, why are you changing careers, especially when your reason is money? Money, honey. Really quickly, I will say, like, is that your only reason? That's it? That's the only reason? I would kind of sit down and be like, okay, well, what else is my reason? Like, obviously, money's a thing. Money makes the world go round, yada, yada, yada. But, like, I would encourage you, like, search within yourself to see if there's like an other reason that you're doing this. Because if that's really the only reason, then that's probably a conversation for another time. There's got to be another reason. Yeah. I mean, just put yourself in a hiring manager's shoes. Like, why would you like to work at our company that we all very much love and care about? I want to work here for your money. Like, like, obviously that's a joke. I think that's even a meme, but I mean, you got to think of the user in this situation, which is the hiring manager. Like, would you want to hire somebody with that answer? It's just something to think about. Did anybody else on the speaker panel have anything they wanted to add to that? Spicy question.
I want to say, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry.
Rada, you can take the floor.
Okay, Jason, right? Okay. So I would share, like, when you get the questions from the hiring manager or from the interviewer and you feel like, oh, you don't want to answer that kind of question. My trick is I like to do, oh, I would love to answer your question. But before that, why is important to you? Is it happened with you before? Because it happened when we transition, and then they're going to ask, how old are you? Do you think that you are too old to change your career? Oh my God, like, don't ask me that kind of thing, like, you can ask them back before you answer the question. Oh, I would love to answer your question, but before that, why is important for you? Is it happened with you before? That's kind of thing you need to ask them, and then they're gonna like, oh my God, this girl is it's not easy to deal with, like, because as a hiring manager, if you have confidence to ask me that kind of question, then you ask me first, like, try to challenge them as well. I will share one more thing. All the time when I have a job interview, I always ask interviewer back during the interview, but I will find a gap that I can ask them back all the time. Like, could you please share your experience to me, how you deal with this kind of thing? So what is it if this thing happen? So how you do with it? Like, I like to ask you, for example, if you didn't do research about the client and then you don't know how to do that, then you ask them, why you ask me? Is it happened before with the company? Then no worry about that. No worry about me, because that kind of thing is not gonna be happen with me. Yeah, Jason, you can go more. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to say that I plus one what Amber was saying, and also plus one you, because like everyone goes into UX design, right, for their own reasons. And one of the tips I put in that slide of like key takeaways or whatever it was called was, whenever you're doubting yourself, you're feeling the imposter syndrome, ask yourself why UX. Use that as fuel to keep persevering and to keep going, because it's so easy to get distracted by the portfolio reviews and the case study writing and the job searching. And be kind to yourself and take the time to just remember, why is it that you're going into this industry? What makes you continue to keep what you're doing? Because, like I said, it's so easy to lose sight of that. And it's going to be your key to success.
Oh, I love that. All right, so we have 1 minute left. I will say this. This is going to be my last bit about it. We're kind of superheroes. I feel like you can trip and fall into a good reason to get into this field. Like, we solve problems. We fix things that people don't even know how to begin to try and fix. Like, we're rock stars. So, like, there's got to be a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if there wasn't one going into it, really was money, fine, cool. But I would sit down and find a reason. You know what I mean? If you didn't come in with one, that's okay. But try to find one. There are so many, like, even if it's the community, you got into it because like you care about this one specific industry and this is just your flavor of it. Like, I've always wanted to be a founder and an entrepreneur. Like, so my flavor, that is product design, so that would be my last piece of advice. It is on the hour. My God, there were so many questions. Okay. Final bit with that. A lot of these questions are great to ask mentors. And I would even hesitate to answer some of them, like how many pieces do I need in my portfolio? 3, 4, 10? Not 10, I'll tell you that much. I'm not a mentor, but I can say that probably not 10. So reach out to a mentor. Save that question that you had, reach out to a mentor, maybe getting over imposter syndrome of working on your portfolio. That would be a great question to ask a mentor. So definitely leverage that platform. It's there to use. And keep your eye on the LinkedIn group, and we will also try to get to as many of these as possible. I hope that was helpful, and thank you all so much for joining. Like, we really appreciate it. Like, holy crap, there are so many people here. I'm blown away. Thank you to our speakers, to our chat support. Y'all been rocking it out all this time. And book one-on-one mentor sessions at adplist.org and add us on LinkedIn. Keep the conversation going. If you had a specific question for a specific speaker, message them on LinkedIn. I bet you $10 every single one of them is going to love to hear from you, right? Am I right? Yes, Ross is dancing, so that's a yes. That's a yes. So keep the conversation going, and we will see you next month at our next roundtable. Woo! I should play music, but I don't want to do a share thing because then it'll be weird. Woo!